Hello friends. So as I'm getting back into doing some more videos, I need to build a practice guitar before I really get into it on a customer's guitar. I've been doing a little bit of work here and there, but I wanted to put a guitar together for myself just to get some practice work in before I start taking orders and really getting into it. This is a Blues Hawk with a mahogany neck, ebony headstock, peghead cover, ebony fretboard with some beautiful inlays. I don't know what those are called. Oak top and a cypress back. And so I stained this last night, and the top camera cut out about halfway. And as I was staining it, I started to see a lot more sanding lines that I didn't see originally. So I did red, and then a little bit of brown and some yellow in the middle. And I thought it looked a little bit washed out. The oak, so this is a white oak top, quarter sawn white oak top. I just didn't like the way it looked. So what I wanted to do was do darker. So do all red, all brown, and a little bit of black, and then sand back and hit it with yellow. And I think that'll get it to pop a little bit more. I've got my Angelus dies here. We're going to do a quick run through. Here's what it was looking like before the camera died. It was close, but you've got these beautiful lines running through it, almost like zebra wood. But I wanted to go through and make sure I did the video right. So this is where we're at now after sanding with 400. We're going to go ahead and apply some red all over the top this time. I think if we do it this way, we can get the yellow to pop a little bit more. The orange in the wood really kind of washes out the yellow, more so than I was thinking. But when you stain guitars this way, you probably have 3 or 4 versions you can do before your top gets too saturated. So this is a little bit of a unique top and requires a little bit more thought process in the stain. So we'll kind of do 2 coats of red. We're going to come back with some black and brown. This is a little bit of a change from before. So we're going to take the brown, pour it on. Then we're going to come with some black. We're just going to get a little bit of a darker color on here. And we're going to feather it like so. The white oak doesn't really soak up the stain like some other stains I've used in the past, other woods I've used in the past. This brush stroke makes it look more like it's been airbrushed. I'm going to go for that teardrop shape. Like so. We're going to come back with a little bit of black now. And just feather the edge ever so slightly. Just to try and darken it up a little bit more. like so. Cover this up. I've got a little bit of brick, which is like a black and red-ish combo. We're gonna wash it. Like so. Pull this to the back. It's definitely a lot brighter, which is what I was looking for. Make sure you cover these up. And then I've got a bulk yellow. We're just going to wash the middle in some yellow. It's definitely orangish because of the red. Gonna just pull some of this around like so. Alright, this is more of what I want because I know when I hit these lines with the steel wool, it's gonna pop, and then when I come back over with the yellow, I'm going to get that to light up. Remember, I got a bridge covering this here, and I got a P90 in the neck. So I actually think we're looking really good. Just going to darken up the sides once more. I think the darkening up of the sides really helps give the contrast that I'm looking for. Which is why I'm going back and forth here. Yeah, definitely that color contrast is what I'm looking for. And I could tell when I stood above it, some of the contrast lines are a little bit harder than I think. So I'll just make sure that they are clean, which is why I'm playing here. Alright. From what I can tell, that's what I'm looking for. Because I know the sanding with the steel will really pull up some color because, like I said earlier, the color doesn't soak in so much on white oak. You know, they use white oak to make whiskey and wine and all that stuff, so it's got a real high tannin, real interesting wood. So we will let this dry and come back and hit it with some steel wool and yellow. Alright, we hit it with some steel wool, and to be honest, I kind of like it as it is. But we said we're going to do a Brock burst, and you always got to add a little bit of yellow. So that's what we're going to do. Got a clean rag. Yeah, see, and that lights it on fire, but it's just a tad too orange for me. But I also need to mix all the colors together. So hitting it with the steel wool definitely pops the colors. Actually, that's about right. I think if I hit it with steel wool once more and then don't put another coat of yellow on, it should be good. You can see how much red gets picked up. You know, the wood is so orange, it doesn't pop like white maple. But what we'll do is really rub this in. And then we will wipe this out. Just see all the color coming out. Alright, so if we hit this with steel wool and don't put another color on, I think we'll be perfect. I like the darker side. Don't really like that transition 100%, but what I can do is hit a little bit more with steel wool, get that to lighten up. It's a really beautiful top. I got some great feedback on Insta from you guys that this is really cool. You don't always have to use figured maple. Just don't need to. This is a really interesting, neat top. It's a Brock burst, but because of the heavy orange in the wood, heavy tannins, it's not going to pop the same way. But I do like it. I think if I use steel wool, it'll be exactly what I want. It's sharp. It's really sharp. Kind of feel like I want to just feather a little bit more red before I hit it with steel wool. Just to keep the red. Yeah, you know, oak looks way better with the red than it does with the yellow. I can just see it. That's the color I want, is more the red than the yellow. I mean, that's really sharp. This is what I like. It just gets it to pop a little bit more than the yellow. So having trouble figuring out in my head where that teardrop line is. Alright. I do like the red. That's why I hit it. I know some of you guys might have said, just leave it. But I think the red adds way more depth than the yellow. Yellow makes it orange, red. It really draws out some of that color. So, alright, now we're done. Steel wool, sanding sealer, True Oil. Mohawk pre-catalyzed sanding sealer. Use this on all of my builds so that the color does not run when you put an oil on it or any finish. That's perfect. What's going on, guys? I actually got this finished. I put a lacquer from Mohawk on here that I found in my pile of finishes, and I was like, let's try that. This is, again, a white oak top that has a Brock burst on it. I'm starting to put some True Oil on the back. Again, this is me building some custom guitars for myself so I can get used to doing stuff for customers again. Fretting, inlaying, stuff like that. Funny thing about this guitar is the inlays are all set, and I had 2 left over that weren't going to fit the pattern. So I was like, let's do this one. And then as I'm looking at the inlays, this one is going the wrong way. I should have flipped it. But this turned out really nice. Again, this is a guitar for me. I'll put a couple more coats of True Oil on here. But just having some fun again, building guitars, what I like to do. So I will be doing more videos. Eventually I'll get back to some custom builds, but this really turned out nice. I want to say thank you for all you guys to continue to watch some of my old videos. Sorry to some of the guys that I have been way late on projects. I will do a shop tour here. I am just in a 2-car garage now. That's it. I've got some things to show you in terms of if you're setting up a shop. You know, garages are really meant for tools, not cars. You gotta tell your wife that, or significant other. But this turned out really nice, really happy with it. Brock burst on white oak. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.